In the grand tradition of unemployed artists, our next reader has been a singing waitress, a dildo salesman, a dental assistant, an abortion clinic receptionist, a blowjob instructor, a travel writer, a pelvic model, and a Swahili teacher. She's had some short stories published in magazines. Magazines like Kaleidotrope, Shimmer, and Apex, and is the founding editor of the now defunct online journal Brain Harvest. She is also half of the weekly podcast Should I Worry About This? As well as My Tuesday Funk co-host. And boy, is it fortunate that we're not following that amazing piece with somebody other than a co-host. Please welcome Eden Robbins.
Fuck, Norm.
Sorry.
All right, I'll give this a shot. So I'm going to read an excerpt from a novel that I just wrote. and I hate to do this, but I have to give a little bit of an intro because otherwise you won't understand anything that's going on. So, this takes place in the mid-1980s in San Francisco. I'm sorry to say it's not terribly light. The height of the AIDS epidemic. A rich young millionaire named Alex Templeton has created a gated community called Bright Tomorrows, basically quarantining gays with AIDS and hiring Vietnam vets with PTSD to run the place. He has also created golems, creatures of Jewish myth made of mud and designed to obey, to take care of the men's needs, both physical and otherwise. One golem, named Shine, has, unbeknownst to anyone, begun to gain consciousness. When this chapter starts, he has just acted violently on national television. This chapter is told from the perspective of Jenny McLeod, who has been a thorn in Alex Templeton's side, having lost her best friend to the Bright Tomorrows compound. Got all that? All right. Jenny McLeod hadn't seen the live broadcast, so who knows what they edited out of it, but what they left was enough. That smooth, stone-faced, contorted and cracked, that inhuman scream. The muscles that ripped the sleeves of Shine's shirt like they were tissue paper. Whatever stupor the golem had been in, he'd woken up. And as much as she loathed Alex Templeton and Bright Tomorrows, for a millisecond, she felt a twinge of sympathy for him. For him. While she sat in the dark on a threadbare couch from Goodwill, slurping cereal milk out of a bowl in a flat she couldn't afford on her own, but couldn't bear to leave because her memories of Joey were here, and moving to a new place would mean making new memories without him. The brain is cruel. The brain forgets. And anyway, sympathy was an impossible emotion when the world was so fucked up. Sympathy was the warm milk you demanded Mom make for you in the middle of the night, even though she had to get up at 5 a.m. to go to work. It helped you sleep. It kept her awake. The rest of the world had to suffer for your moment of weakness, and that wasn't fair. The only problem Jenny Mac had, Ray Anger, was who she hated more, Alex Templeton or Shine. Shine represented every damn thing that was wrong with this country. His head on that new Coca-Cola billboard looming over the Castro Street BART station, 20 feet tall, not counting his stupid mohawk, that bottle magicked into his hand like the cock of America. A black man in servitude whose only job was to swallow the semen of a dying white man. But did anyone talk about that? Did anyone think about it? Shine, smiling beatifically over Market Street, tricking the Castro into thinking everything was going to be okay about AIDS, telling nice stories on live television so that no one had to trouble themselves about what it all meant. America was patting itself on the back for being so accepting of Shine, breathing a collective sigh of relief at the thought that they'd beaten that whole racism thing. But who was he without his name? If he wasn't famous, if he was just walking down the street, he would be the very definition of danger. His would be the body that would snap the neck of white America. After the broadcast, would they begin to see that in him? And if so, what would Shine do? They filled his empty head with lies like they used to fill skulls with mustard seeds to show that Africans were stupid. Magic in this world was hard to come by, and somehow a creep like Alex Templeton was the one to conjure it out of the darkness. No, Jenny thought, the era of bright tomorrows and golems and magical thinking was ending. Now maybe the country could get back to the real work of dealing with AIDS. She took one last slurp of sugary milk, stood up, and turned the TV off, plunging the flat into darkness. Time to take to the streets, Joey, she said. Hell, I can even reuse my old placards for this one. Okay, Angela Davis, said Joey's memory. I'll be in the elephant walk with the Jack and Coke, waving at you through the windows. Rumpled into a ball and tossed in the closet with the warped placards were Joey and Jenny's old server aprons, covered with buttons they had made with the button maker Joey borrowed from the Milk Club office. 2 female symbols linked together, gay and proud. An upside-down pink triangle, a rainbow. I'm here, I'm queer, get used to it. Fuck it. Jenny snatched her apron and tied it around her waist. It still smelled like old hash browns. Castro and 18th was the center around which Jenny Mac's small world revolved, specifically the Elephant Walk, a restaurant, bar, and Castro institution. Jack, the owner, had taken pity on 2 queer refugees from Lincoln, Nebraska, and given them both waitstaff jobs on the brunch shift, even though they had 0 experience and Jenny was female. The man had saved a plane full of hostages in Beirut with his kindness, had slung an arm over the shoulders of his lover in front of Ronald Reagan on national television. Jenny guessed the pettiness of everyday life sort of faded into the background when you were brave, like Jack. But once Joey died, Jenny avoided the restaurant like it was the wrong side of a magnet. San Francisco loved to protest, and the gays loved a parade, so the Castro was always humming with some kind of activity. Even now, at 10 o'clock at night, Jenny could hear the tambourines of the gay belly dancers on Hibernia Beach. A warmth washed over her. If there was fighting in San Francisco, it was with everyone on the same side, against a common, easy-to-identify enemy. The enemy was a congressman. The enemy was shame. The enemy was a lack of funding for AIDS, a new disease that seemed to come to San Francisco at the same time as Jenny and Joey. Joey had wanted to go to the hearings, wanted to protest the closing of the bathhouses. Jenny, frankly, didn't think that closing the bathhouses was such a terrible idea. In San Francisco and the Castro, Jenny could disappear in a crowd, raise her voice with it. No one gave her a second look, unless it was a friendly one. Every day in Lincoln was a fight. Everyone seemed to have some opinion about her and the way she acted, the way she looked. The most antiquated and exotic slurs came out of their mouths. Quadroon, not even accurate. High yellow, and if they were being sensitive, mulatto, which Jenny could never help retorting with a hee-haw mule noise, or at least she did it once, because the person was a friend and didn't know any better, and it was a way to respond without getting into an argument. You'd think, being veterans of civil rights, that her folks would be supportive, but no. If you've got a problem with the system, Mom said, then you take down the system. But the system is everyone, everywhere, Jenny said. They would shrug, or Dad would shrug, and Mom would grab her shoulders and stare sharply into her eyes. We didn't raise you to be a drone for the man. If there's a fight to be fought, you fight it. Would it have been hard? Would it have killed them to give her a hug, to say, I'm sorry, kid, life is hard, but we love you? Teddy, a little angel with a blonde mustache, ran up to her in his cut-off jeans, a placard reading, BT is BS, flapping over one shoulder. I knew you'd be here, Teddy said. That broadcast. He paused, finger up to catch his breath. Jenny didn't comment on the wheeze his lungs made. When she hugged him, she tried not to count his ribs with her fingers. I thought there'd be more people out, she said. Only a dozen or so milled around, holding placards, half-heartedly chanting, hey, hey, ho, ho, BT and Shine have got to go. The belly dancers just danced. You could never tell if they were protesting or just enjoying the metallic tinkle of coins on their hips. Well, you know this crowd, said Teddy, rolling his eyes. Place to go, people to do. Listen, Teddy, Jenny said, I'm sorry about flaking on my shifts. Teddy waved his hand. Not necessary. We all miss Joey. Death had become so common, so expected, and now Teddy, did he know? Was he scared? Should she say something? What was the point? Teddy grabbed her arm. I have to show you something. He dragged her through the crowd on 18th, which was growing, thank God. Maybe they'd get some press coverage this time. Past the belly dancers, almost to the edge where a couple of cops were watching, warily, annoyed, arms folded. Jenny's heart thumped on the wrong beat. Was this going to turn into a cop thing? Teddy stopped. Look, he said, hovering at the edge of the protest, wearing full head-to-toe hazmat uniform, bright white, like they scrubbed them with bleach every day. 2 hazmats from Bright Tomorrows. Jenny clenched her fists until the nails made painful half-moons in her palms. That's why the cops were here. To protect the hazmats, not the people. Who do they think they are coming here? She asked. No, Mac, you're not looking. Teddy steered her by the shoulders so she was standing directly in front of them. The plastic masks reflected the streetlights, distorting their faces. One of them reached down and scratched his calf through the suit. His placard depicted a tombstone with the inscription, "Survive the VC, slain by golems." His friends had a terrible drawing of what might have been Shine attacking a hazmat with "BT is BS" scrawled over it. "What the hell is this, Teddy?" "It's a turning point," Teddy said, "and it's embarrassing that we have the same slogan." He tugged her arm to pull her back into the crowd, but she shrugged out of his grip, marched up to the hazmat with the drawing on his poster. "Who are you?" she said, poking him in the chest. "Take your mask off and show us who you are." He looked at his friend, then the two of them lowered their placards, started to walk away. Jenny circled around them, blocking their path. "Matt, cut it out," Teddy called. "Look, they're on our side." "Our side?" Jenny said. "If they were on our side, they would have stepped in to save Joey, but they were too scared to take off their masks. So, you're on our side? Take off your masks now. Take them off." The crowd had turned to face them, had stopped their chanting and their tambourines, and the cops had unfolded their arms and were thinking about saying some cop thing like, "Now calm down, ma'am." And Mom was right, cops were the same everywhere, and her damn temper was going to get her in trouble one of these days. She had single-handedly disrupted the one thing she wanted more than anything, a community to rally around. How typical that she break the thing that was most precious to her. "We don't want to hurt anyone, we just want to go home," said one of the hazmats, his voice muffled behind the plastic. "How nice for you," Jenny said. "How nice that you can go to work in that cesspit and terrorize our friends and then go home and sleep like a baby." "You stupid bitch, you don't understand anything," the other one said. His friend smacked him on the arm, told him to knock it off. But he stepped up to her. They were the same height, and he was clearly used to intimidating people with his size, but Jenny wasn't intimidated. She didn't budge, and then he had nowhere to go, smashed up against her tits like that. So they stared at each other, his eyes warped by plastic. And then he reached up and ripped off his mask. Only a year or two older than her, maybe. Pale cheeks with sparse stubble, a hillbilly nose, a big ugly pimple on his cheek. An unbearable humanity. "Put the mask back on," she wanted to say, but her mouth wouldn't move. "I don't sleep at all," he said calmly, "because whenever I do, I wake up screaming." He turned, and the two of them walked away, chucking their placards on the sidewalk. Jenny breathed, and there wasn't enough air in the world.